All right, class, if you got this link as a recommended video, then it means you missed something on a question related to pie charts as well as Pareto charts. So if you click on the table provided, it probably gives you something similar to this, where in this case, it's not necessarily the same topic, but in this case, it tells you different majors and their frequencies. And so it may want you to match it to the correct pie graph. Well, the pie graph may have percentages. That's usually pretty common in a pie graph. So you've got a choice. You can either import the data by clicking the little icon and opening this in Excel, or I mean, you can really create an estimate of what the pie chart would look like by hand if you wanted to, because basically you would take a calculator and just add up these frequencies. Like, let me actually go ahead and do that just in case you want to do this one by hand. So like 42 plus 124 plus 245 plus 56, that gives me 467. And if I wanted to do it by hand, I could then just take 42 divided by 467. And that's about 8.99 something percent. So, I mean, that's roughly 9% right there. And similarly, you could take the 124 and divide it by that and get that percentage and so forth. And then just pick the pie chart whose pie slices resemble what percentages those should be at. And I think even the percentages are given in the choices. So you would just make sure that you pick the pie chart that matches up to the 4 different percentages that you got. You can also get Excel to do a pie chart really easily. So I'm going to also show that. So if you import the data, it will allow you to do that because it's got the little icon. Import the information, this table of information, into Excel. And then I can just go and highlight both of these columns. Actually, I'm not going to highlight the column headings. Let me just go ahead and highlight the categories and their frequencies, and then come up here and go Insert, come here to the chart section and click this one that looks like a pie chart. And if you click that and just click the first one, you'll get this, which is similar to the choices you're going to look at, but it's missing the percentages and the labels. So all I really have to do is come here and click the plus sign, click data labels. But if I just click data labels, it's only giving me the frequencies, you'll notice. So if I then click, I can click data labels, but click this arrow next to it and go down to more options. And then it lets me check percentage. So when I check the percentage box, notice now I've got the percentages, I've got the names of the categories to match up. Now it's going to be easier to match it to the correct choice in your MSL question. So, you know, totally up to you whether you want to do it by hand and match it up or let Excel do it. All right, then it's also going to give you a Pareto chart. Well, what a Pareto chart does is, once again, you can figure out the answer by hand. A Pareto chart just goes in descending order according to the higher frequencies. So like business would need to be first, then psychology, then nursing, and then education, because that would be in descending order. I can show you what it would look like so that you can match it up. So actually, let me just move this over here. All right, so if I were going to do a Pareto chart in Excel, I would actually first want to sort. I would highlight these numbers and I want to sort them in descending order. So I'm highlighting all those 4 cells, coming up here to sort. But whereas usually we sort smallest to largest, this time I'm going to sort largest to smallest. That's what happens in a Pareto chart. It goes in descending order. And it's going to ask me do I want to expand the selection? All that's asking is, does it want to also move the category names with the numbers? Yes. Always leave that checked off as it is by default. Click sort. And now you'll notice it's got it in descending order. So if I highlight my mouse over both columns, I'm not including the column headings, just leave those out. Both columns, and come here and go insert, and now go to the bar chart looking graph. Click on that, click on the first one. Then here's what a Pareto chart would look like. I mean, basically you could click this and add the axis titles. I think it would have probably frequency right here. So like if I click on that and type in the word frequency up there, click enter, it'll put frequency. And this would be, click that and click or spell majors, and it would have that. But point being is that's a Pareto chart. It's going to want you to compare and say which one might be better. Well, if you want to, pie slices are fine. They're pretty common for qualitative variables. But if you really want to look at the relative, like in this case, the relative size of the numbers of students in these different majors. So anytime you want some relative comparison, then it's better to do a Pareto chart like this one on the left, because you can see the comparison. I mean, now it's much easier, that emphasizes that psychology looks like it's even less than half of the business majors and so forth. That's not as easy to tell when you look at a rounded pie chart. So, you would just want to make sure you understand how Pareto charts are better at showing the relative comparison, or in this case, relative size.